I know what you may be thinking. The Roblox Doors Floor 2 update literally just dropped less than a week ago, and now you're telling me that they've already removed some features from the update. Yes, these are 9 things that they removed from Doors Floor 2. Smack that like and subscribe, or else we'll remove some of those achievements you've earned as well. Number 1, Snare. Ah yes, the entity with the large spikes from within it. Snare was first introduced to Roblox Doors back in the Hotel Plus update and would only be around the later stages of Floor 1, specifically within the greenhouse rooms. Within the mines of Floor 2, however, the Snare entity would make its reappearance, but this time he really did mean business. He would show up more often than not right when the Floor 2 update was released, and it made the gameplay much more difficult, especially when dealing with stacks of other entities on top of each other. The Snare entity was also found within the community to spawn in absolutely outrageous locations, such as being hidden under the water or even being glitched and hiding deeper within the game's models. Overall, the entity didn't really add much to the value of the gameplay, and in fact made it worse, as players would then have to not only look up for giggles but also on the ground for the Snare as well. Due to the overwhelming response by the community about the difficulty being too high, the developers had decided to remove the Snare entity from Doors 2 for now in order to work on some more tweaks. Number 2, the Heartbeat minigame. The Heartbeat minigame is one that has been around in Doors for a long time, since the game was released over a year ago. The developers first added this heartbeat mechanic into Floor 2, in which if you were inside a locker for just around 2 to 3 seconds, the game would suddenly appear regardless if an entity was around or not. Of course, this made the community very angry, as many thought it was really unnecessary. The developers ended up removing this in the latest mini patch update from Floor 2, so you don't have to worry about the game at all. The developers also for some reason removed the mechanic from Door 100 as well, and is claimed to completely break Figure in the process. But the developers did say that they are currently reworking the system so it can be implemented again in the future. Number 3, Figure Fuse Room. The Figure Fuse Room is another feature that was removed in the already new Floor 2 update, and it does make sense. Previously, before the difficulty patch, players would actually run into Figure 3 separate times before Door 150. They would run into the figure during the spawning cutscene, another instance where the players would have to sneak around the figure to get to the next room, and then a third time where players would not only have to get past the figure, but they'd also have to find several fuses in order to power up a generator. Many within the community thought this was too much and really repetitive as well, which ultimately led the developers to removing this room, calling it Removed That One Room. The Figure Fuse Room does still exist, however, but post Door 150, which makes more sense. Having 2 Figure Fuse Rooms in one run just didn't make much sense, to be honest. Number 4, Minecart Room. There are a couple minecart rooms within Floor 2 which honestly are fun, but there was a minecart room that showed up when the update dropped, and it was really time consuming. It was this room right here that featured not 1 but 2 control modules, forcing the players to break through 4 walls with one single minecart. This means players had to change the directions of the rails, push the minecart through the wall, push the minecart back up again, and then go back to the switch in order to rinse and repeat. On top of that, players also had to find fuses, which added even more to the already time-consuming room. It was actually dubbed as the speedrunner's nightmare because it caused so many speedrunners to lose a lot of time here. While the developers also ended up removing this room, as we cannot notice it anymore, again, due to the community mentioning about it. Though, we do still have its variant that shows up post Door 150, known as the Railway Station. Number 5, Dam Seek Fuses. When facing the final boss version of Seek within the dam, it used to be much more difficult than it currently is. Due to the mines featuring many generators all throughout the floor, the developers first added this as a mechanic to the final boss as well, requiring players to find the fuses after activating all of the water drains in order to power up the final generator to escape. Again, especially with Seek being drained and no longer being a threat, there really wasn't a reason to add this portion of the gameplay, as it just delayed the ending further. So the developers ended up removing this feature, to which if you do beat Seek, you can just reach the outside of the courtyard without any fuses at all. Number 6, spawn rates. Essentially, we are talking about the removal of difficulty in this portion, but Floor 2 used to be really difficult, especially with the spawn rates being jacked up from many entities such as Eyes and Giggle. This made the difficulty of the floor so high, where as many as 2 to 3 entities would end up stacking on top of each other in order to kill players really quickly. It was actually really difficult to even get past door 120 or 130 due to everything that was going on, and many players were complaining that this was just too chaotic and needs to be toned down quite a bit. The developers did end up overall toning the spawn rates down significantly, saying that it was because they were used to the difficulty, and as of now, it's a lot more quieter and easier to get up to door 150. Number 7, NVCS 3000. This was a tablet that was originally found within the rooms portion of doors and was the prize if a player got all the way up to door 1000. The tablet didn't really do much other than show players where items are inside of cabinets, and it was used as a cool trophy collectible for the Rift. When Floor 2 dropped, the tablet was disappeared from the Rift and was replaced with the Barrel of Starlight item, which is arguably much more useful and overpowering than the tablet. Some players also noted that the tablet didn't really make sense within the door's lore, and that the Starlight items added more value to the story and theme of the game. Some players still do miss the tablet though, but it should make its comeback in the future, as we think it was removed due to the tablet possibly not working properly yet in Floor 2. Number 8, Retro Modifier. This was a modifier that was in Roblox doors for Floor 1, and it completely transformed doors into an older version featuring old graphics and style. Many players thoroughly enjoyed this modifier, but unfortunately the feature was removed within the newest update. As we've noticed, it's possible to bring modifiers into Floor 2 even though the developers haven't officially added it in yet, and with this modifier on, it could break the game completely. The community is still not sure why the modifier was removed. Number 9, Round-A-Bout Modifier. This modifier featured a more difficult version of Halt in which you would spawn and travel faster, and also not feature any reverse signs in the process. Again, for some reason, the developers have removed this modifier within the game as well, most likely due to the new additions of Halt's Dining Room, which was added in the newest update. So, which feature would you bring back? Like and subscribe for more, and take care.